Namaskar dosto, welcome to channel Toxicology on board. Today in this video we'll be discussing another DABT topic, that is carbon monoxide poisoning. Let's directly dive into the question. This question is taken from ABT recertification question paper year 2009. So the question was, which of the following is correct regarding carbon monoxide? Okay, so we need to identify from the below options which is the applicable statement with respect to carbon monoxide poisoning. So the first option was the presence of carbon monoxide is detected by its characteristic odor. So we'll see one of the characteristic features of what are the characteristic features of carbon monoxide, how you can identify it. So first one is it is saying because of the odor, whether this particular gas will have odor or not, that we'll learn. For a given carbon monoxide exposure, the toxic response is same across species. Is there any difference in the species like mice, rat, rabbit, and the dog, whether how they are responding to these particular gases that we will be seeing? Third option is children are more sensitive to carbon monoxide poisoning than adults due to differentiation in the hemoglobin composition. So we need to also see different age populations, whether how the pediatrics are behaving, how the geriatrics or the female or the male or the adult population are behaving towards responding to this particular carbon monoxide poisoning. That we also will learn. Next one is option D, that is clinical presentation of the carbon monoxide poisoned patient may resemble other disease. So whenever a certain accident takes place, no, um, uh, whenever certain accident takes place, and a person comes to an emergency department, what happens, the physician, emergency department physician will not know what is the particular gas to which or poison to which this particular patient has been exposed. So identifying which poison at the immediate receiving of the patient at the emergency department is also very challenging. So what are the, and it should not resemble to that of the other poison. Okay, the clinical presentation of a carbon monoxide poison patient may resemble the other diseases. Okay, last option is hypertension and rapid heart rate, heartbeat are the characteristic of carbon monoxide poisoning. The right answer will be the green text out of all these options. Fifth option, that is hypertension and rapid heartbeat rate are the characteristic features of this carbon monoxide poisoning. That means the first one, the presence of carbon monoxide is detected by the characteristic odor. No, carbon monoxide, there are certain gases, poisons are there for which there is no characteristic odor. For example, the cooking gas which you are using at your home or in your kitchen also, it doesn't have any characteristic odor. But additionally, we'll add certain chemical. You go back and check what is that chemical to so that so that if there is any leakage, we can identify. So like that only. So with the carbon monoxide is not having any characteristic odor. Second one is given carbon dioxide exposure, toxic response is same across species. No, it is not. It is not same across species. Children are more resistant to carbon monoxide. That is also not right. And clinical presentation of carbon monoxide patients may resemble to the other disease. This is also not right. It is a characteristic feature. So some of the important points we'll discuss with respect to carbon monoxide poisoning from the DABT notes. Okay. So because carbon monoxide is odorless, colorless, and otherwise undetectable to the human senses, people may not know that they are being exposed. Even there is a certain place, workplace, or a certain area where carbon monoxide leakage is there, still people will not be able to identify because it doesn't have any smell, it doesn't have any, our human sense, colorless it is, our human senses cannot identify it. Second one, the initial symptoms of low to moderate carbon monoxide poisoning are similar to that of flu. So whenever you have flu, whatever the symptoms are there, similar to that of carbon monoxide poisoning are there, but without the fever. They include headache, fatigue, shortness of breath, nausea, and dizziness. These things you can find with other kind of flu-like symptoms also. High level of carbon monoxide poisoning results in progressively more severe symptoms. What are those severe symptoms we'll see? Mental confusion. The patient will have mental confusion, vomiting, loss of muscle coordination, loss of consciousness, ultimately death. Okay. So symptom severity is related to both carbon monoxide level as well as the duration of exposure. Is it acute exposure or chronic exposure? That is also going to differentiate. Next, we'll see two things. For slowly developing residential carbon monoxide problems. In next slide, we will see what are the different ways through which carbon monoxide accident might occur and a person can be exposed to this carbon monoxide poisoning. So residential carbon monoxide problem, that is what happens, in the case of generators or heaters, this carbon monoxide gas will be released. So occupants and or the physicians can mistake mild to moderate carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms for the flu, which sometimes results in tragic death. So this option is completely related to option D. Okay. For rapidly developing high level of carbon monoxide exposure, example associated use of generators in the residential spaces. As I told you, whenever there is power shortage, we used to use generators. From this also carbon monoxide will be come out as a gas. Victims can rapidly develop mentally confused and can lose muscle control without having first experienced milder symptoms. They will likely die if not rescued. So closed environment is there. This particular type of exposure might cause mental confusion. It might cause lose muscle control as well as death eventually. Okay, so there are n number of videos I have uploaded in my channel with respect to carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, I have given the place and textbook notes and tables also from which you have to read. Today, instead of going referring to place and textbook, we will go through a certain diagram through which we can quickly remember the points which are really useful at the time of exam. So, as the first one is this another name for this carbon monoxide poisoning is silent killer. Why it is called silent killer means it is odorless, it is colorless, and it is tasteless. So even if you're getting exposed to it, you'll never come to know that you're getting exposed to this particular toxic gas. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, non-irritating gas. You're not even feeling any skin irritation or eye irritation or and nasal discharge is also not happening. So you'll not identify it. Gas produced by incomplete combustion of carbon containing fuels. What are those carbon containing fuels? Means your uh, your faulty heaters, gas stoves, car exhaust, which is in the case of enclosed spaces, generators, charcoal grills, blocked chimneys, wood charcoal burning in a poorly ventilated areas. So whenever you are using this kind type of equipment, no, it should not be closed area. So reducing what is happening? Um, Incomplete combustion of carbon containing fuels. As a result, it binds to the this whatever this carbon monoxide which is released, no, it will bind to this hemoglobin with very high affinity, reducing oxygen delivery to tissues and causing hypoxia. So this is the take home thing you have to remember. So if you see this is a normal hemoglobin, okay, and this normal hemoglobin, oxygen will go and bind to this hemoglobin, okay. So oxygen binds to hemoglobin and it forms hemoglobin. This is the actual thing should happen. In the case of carbon monoxide poisoning, what is happening? Hemoglobin is there. So now this hemoglobin is having oxygen as well as carbon monoxide. So what is happening? Instead of oxygen, carbon monoxide will go and bind to the hemoglobin because carbon monoxide is having more affinity to bind to the hemoglobin. Here you can see the affinity. The carbon monoxide is having 200 to 250 times more affinity to bind to the hemoglobin when compared to oxygen. Okay, so same hemoglobin is the to which it has to bind. Oxygen is there, carbon dioxide is there. Instead of oxygen, carbon monoxide going and binding. As a result, carboxyhemoglobin will form. And what is happening because of the formation of this one? Tissue hypoxia will happen. Now the tissues, whatever the cells, our tissues are now, they are deprived of oxygen. Once you don't have oxygen, enough content of oxygen is not available to the cells will die. Tissue hypoxia is happening. Okay, so reducing oxygen delivery to tissues causing hypoxia. So pause the video here. Once again, you see the comparison between the normal hemoglobin as well as carbon monoxide when it is present, how the hemoglobin is reacting. This is the actual mechanism of the toxicity. So what are the effects will happen? Decreased oxygen delivery to the tissues as well as to the cells. Then cellular hypoxia, hypoxia and decrease in oxygen. Headache, confusion, organ dysfunction. In the first slide, we have seen muscle movement is also having, and severe cases, loss of consciousness as well as death. If the cells are deprived of oxygen, cell will immediately undergo death. Okay, for a enclosed environment is there is. So we have clinical features we'll see depending on the percentage of carboxyhemoglobin formed in our tissue. If 10 to 20% of carboxyhemoglobin is formed in our body, then you will have mild headache as well as fatigue. If it is 20 to 30% of carboxyhemoglobin is there in your body, it will cause throbbing headache, dizziness, and nausea. So throbbing headache, previous video we have seen with respect to red wine toxicity, tyramine. Okay, go back and read that video also. Coming back to here, if it is 34 to 40% carboxyhemoglobin, then it is vomiting as well as blurred vision. And if it is 40 to 50%, confusion and tachycardia. And if the carboxyhemoglobin level in our body is greater than 50 to 60%, then you will have loss of consciousness, seizure, cardiac arrhythmia, and death. So these are the various ways in which it will eventually lead to death. So another characteristic which you can see in the case of carbon monoxide poisoning is Cherry red skin may be present in severe cases, but it is not seen in all the patients. Few patients you can, it's a characteristic feature you can see. Okay, coming back to pathophysiology. So here inhalation of this carbon monoxide. So whenever the improper combustion of this type of generators or fuels is taking place, carbon containing fuels, carbon monoxide is formed into that particular atmosphere. You inhale that carbon monoxide, and this carbon monoxide will bind to hemoglobin, formation of carboxyhemoglobin. Okay, then decreased oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. Okay, now tissue hypoxia, cellular dysfunction, and death of the vital organs like brain, heart, and your central nervous system. So if you look into our body, heart as well as your brain, these are the two main organs which need highest amount of oxygen because they consume more amount of energy, ATP. Okay. So coming back to how you're going to diagnose if the patient comes to emergency department and how the physician is going to diagnose a patient that this person is exposed to carbon monoxide poisoning is one is whenever you go to ED emergency department, you will have pulse oximeter. So similarly here we have carbon monoxide oximeter, gold standard, measures percentage of hemoglobin concentration. So carboxyhemoglobin concentration it will measure. Based on these symptoms also you can identify, you can start in the treatment. Okay. Pulse oximetry may be useful, but it might give some misleading result. Arterial blood gas, that is partial pressure of oxygen you have to check, as well as history of that exposure patient also you have to check. Okay, whether it is closed environment, acute exposure, is it continuously working in that particular environment for a period of time? All those things also patient history you can ask. If the patient is responding or ask the person who has admitted to that hospital. Okay, coming back to the treatment, what are the different options in such a case? What the physician will do is 100% oxygen therapy, that is high flow, non-rebreathable mask. This is the first option. Second option is hyperbaric oxygen. That is, this is the chamber in which the patient will be, and 100% oxygen will be given to him because whenever there is severe cases, tissue hypoxia, cell is almost at the time of death is there, no, in that cases only. So that is in the 50 to 60% of carboxyhemoglobin which is formed in our body. In such case only we'll go for hyperbaric oxygen. Not generally recommended this one. Okay, whenever this is carboxyhemoglobin concentration is more than 25%. Okay, and 15% in the case of pregnancy. Okay, loss of consciousness, neurological deficits, cardiac ischemia, and severe acidosis. In such cases only you have to go for hyperbaric oxygen treatment. Otherwise, the treatment itself will have certain adverse effects. You can go back and check that also you can read. Then next one is supportive care. That is, you have to monitor this vital signs ECG as well as if there are any seizures, that also you have to take care. Okay. Then next one is how you can prevent. What is the best way? Instead of we are discussing about treatment, diagnosis, everything, but how we can do. First one is ensure proper ventilation. So whenever you're working in this closed environment where burning is taking place, the carbon-related fuel burning is taking place, you have to make sure that there is a proper ventilation. There is no accumulation of the gas in that particular enclosed environment. Similar thing you can see in the case of methylene chloride poisoning also. Paint strippers are there. One video I have kept in the channel. Previously, one question in the DABT they have asked with respect to methylene chloride also. So whenever you are working in the closed environment, no, that bathroom painters or varnishes will be there. No, there also the exposed gas. If you inhale these gases in a closed environment, you will definitely have. And also you can see in the sewage some treatment also. Suddenly, after couple of months, or if you enter into this sewage treatment, these workers also they will have this kind of thing. So closed environment is also very important. So ensure proper ventilation. Second one is major regular maintenance of appliances chimneys. So whenever before the season starts, your winter season starts or something like that, you have to make sure your generators, you have to make sure your car, ventilators, everything are properly cleaned or they're maintained. Okay. Next one is use carbon monoxide detector alarms. So similarly in the case of fire alarm detectors, how they are there in the case of factory environment or certain homes, like maybe this is there in the case of Europe where cold places are there, generators or chimneys are there in their home only, unlike Indian societies. So probably what we have to do is that you can also, in addition to the fire alarm, you can also keep carbon monoxide detectors, okay, alarms. Next one is do not use generators or grills indoors. This is also one suggestion, prevention. Then next, do not use run vehicles in closed garages. So in the garage also like that, and be aware of car. We have to be very careful because since carbon monoxide is not having any characteristic odor, smell, and tasteless and non-irritating, it is a silent killer. You cannot identify this certain poisoning is happening. So carbon monoxide is invisible, odorless, awareness and prevention saves lives. So this is the take home. So one question in the DABT with respect to carbon monoxide they have asked in the year 2009. Some more questions were already asked. I have covered it from year 2000, 2001, 2002. In my channel, I will give the description in the link. You can go back and read in detail. So I have given the listed of all the case and textbook pages and tables. Now we'll discuss another gases thing which was asked ABT recertification year 2009 only with respect to hydrogen sulfide. The second gas what we are reading is hydrogen sulfide gas. So we'll see what is the question. The question is the cellular mechanism of this hydrogen sulfide toxicity is. So we need to identify which is applicable to this hydrogen sulfide toxicity. Option is depletion of ATP reserves. Option B is inhibition of cytochrome oxidase. Option C is damage of this mitochondrial DNA, disruption of the cell membrane. Fifth option is uncontrolled increase of cytoplasmic calcium. The right answer will be in the green text, that is inhibition of cytochrome oxidase. So similar inhibition of cytochrome oxidase you will see in the case of cyanide poisoning also. So whenever there is cyanide poisoning, immediate death will be there because cell is deprived of this ATP electron in there is a disruption or the inhibition of electron transfer. ATP is not generating, energy is not received to the cells. Particularly, they will block cytochrome 4 in this mitochondrial transport chain. I will show you in the next slide. So other options also, you pause and see. Depletion of ATP reserves applicable to which type? Damage of mitochondrial DNA, a disruption of cell membrane, uncontrolled release of this calcium. In which type of poisoning these are applicable that you read. Okay. So let's go to the H2S also I try to cover in my videos. So today, instead of going through lesson, we'll try to understand it from the diagram so that we can remember at the time of exam. Other videos with respect to H2S, I will give the link in the description. So let us quickly go through. The cellular mechanism of this hydrogen sulfide toxicity is inhibition of cytochrome oxidase. So this is the your plasma phospholipid bilayer membrane. Okay. So this is your inner membrane, intermembrane, and this is your mitochondrial matrix. This is your inner membrane, okay, inner mitochondrial matrix. This you have to remember. Okay. So in this is electron transport chain. You have complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4 will be there. Particularly in the case of complex 4, this will be blocked. Similarly, in the case of cyanide poisoning, also same thing. Electron transport chain is disrupted. ATP generation will be stopped. As a result, cell will not get enough energy. That is the thing you have to remember. Hydrogen sulfide is a potent cellular toxin that inhibits mitochondrial respiration by blocking cytochrome C oxidase complex 4 in the electron transport chain. This is the thing you have to remember from the exam point of view. Okay. Here, this is your electron flow drives, proton pumper, and ATP synthesis. This particular complex is stopped. As a result, ATP formation is inhibited. So we'll see what is the consequence of inhibition. Electron transport chain stops, proton pumping stops. Okay, ATP synthesis decreases, cellular energy failure, so cell will not get enough energy, loss of ion homeostasis, and cellular function, cellular injury, organ failure, as well as death. So this is the thing. So your H2S, what it is going to hydrogen sulfide, it will bind to the heme A3 and Cu. These are the units in the case of complex 4 by nuclear center of cytochrome C oxidase. This is your complex 4. So this particular thing is stopped. Inhibition of the cytochrome oxidase complex 4, electrons cannot be transferred to oxygen, okay, and cellular respiration is blocked. Hydrogen sulfide toxicity is primarily due to inhibition of cytochrome oxidase complex 4, leading to blockade of this oxidative phosphorylation and energy failure. So same thing you will learn concept in the case of cyanide poisoning also. That is the reason earlier people used to use cyanide for killing or for suicidal this thing. Okay. So go back and check these two videos also. I'll give the link in the description. Thank you so much. All the best for your exam.